I'm Robyn from Red Robyn Crafts. Today I'd like to give you some basic hints and tips for using a hot glue gun. If you've never used this type of glue before, you'll find that it really speeds up your crafting as it sets almost instantly. It lends itself perfectly to being used with felt, and that's why I offer both stitched and glued versions of all of my patterns. I have here a few sample pieces of felt that I'm going to use to demonstrate the hot glue gun for you. If you're new to the hot glue gun, then congratulations, you've just discovered the greatest time saver in all of crafting. I use my hot glue gun on absolutely everything. You'll find it's amazing how fast you can get these projects done. The reason why it's so fast is that the glue sets almost instantly. You can just immediately move from one step to the next because you're not having to wait for that glue to dry. It really is a fantastic tool. Now, the hot glue gun itself is really very simple. You'll find yours will most likely end up with, like mine over time, with glue stuck all over it. That's just the nature of the beast. You'll find the plastic parts of the hot glue gun always stay fairly cool. They're quite fine to touch. However, the tip of the hot glue gun, this is where the glue melts. As it's leaving the hot glue gun, this hot tip will melt it. Don't get your fingers anywhere near it. You really will burn them substantially. I've had a few myself. Otherwise, you've just got the trigger here to pull to release the glue when you're ready. And then when you run out of glue, which you can see I'm about to do very soon, you'll find there's a little hole at the back, and that's where you insert your new glue stick. The new one will just push the old glue stick through and continue on as normal. You won't even notice when one glue stick ends and the other begins. I buy my glue sticks just in nice big bags, just from the local craft store. You can get all sorts of different varieties there. So I'm showing you now two different ways of gluing, and I've got a large piece and a small piece. The reason being that I would use different techniques with these different sizes here. So I'll start with the large piece. With this one, I would never simply glue all the way around it and then flip this piece over to stick it down. There are two reasons for that. The first one would be that the hot glue gun always works best when it's hot. The hotter the glue is when you adhere the two pieces together, the better it's going to stick. So if I were to start my line of glue here and glue all the way around, by the time I get back to this corner again, that first piece of glue will be too cool, and you'll find that it won't stick quite as well as it should. The other reason that I wouldn't just glue all the way around is that then when I go to flip my piece over, there's every chance that it's going to stick to itself in the movement, and also I'm not really giving myself a chance to line it up exactly where I want it to be. Remember too that you can't hold this particularly well once you've got the glue on because it's too hot. It'll be burning your fingers. So you really can't align it the way you should. What I would do instead is I would first place my piece where I want it to be, and then I would glue half at a time. So I would flip this half over, making sure that the other half stays where I want it to be. Then put your glue, and I'm just squeezing the trigger to release some glue. You really don't need much hot glue. It really works very effectively, so just a very fine line of hot glue is fine. Then hold that bottom piece in place and flip that one back like that. That way I can be sure that this glue is still hot when it adheres to the second piece. I can also be sure that my piece of felt is staying in place. Once I've got that half down, just flip this half back again. You'll see that I'm keeping my finger well clear of where I intend to put the glue. Squeeze another line of glue and then stick that one down. Job done, all nice and easy, and I know that it's going to be where I wanted it to be. Now with a smaller piece of felt, of course, I'm certainly not going to use that sort of technique. I even don't want my fingers anywhere near this piece of glue while I'm putting the glue on. Yeah, you'll end up with blisters on your fingers. You don't want that. So what I would use instead is a pair of tweezers. With my tweezers, now I've deliberately bought a really fine tipped pair of tweezers. I find these best for this sort of job. What I would do with the tweezers is I'm going to pinch just those top few fibres. So I've really only got a tiny grasp on this piece. That way the felt, when I flip it over, is still going to be flat. I haven't created a crease. If I were to get more of that, then I've just got a crease underneath my felt, and then when I stick it down, that crease will remain. So instead, just grab those top few fibres, make sure that the felt is still flat underneath. Then I can put my hot glue onto this piece and stick it down where I want it to be. Now on a tiny piece like this, you really don't want to apply much glue. If I put a lot of glue onto this piece, then I'd find when I stick it down, it would start oozing out and make a mess of my work. Instead, like I said at the beginning, you end up with glue all over your glue gun. What I would find with a tiny piece like this is I might just use that excess glue around the tip of the glue gun, just wipe it off onto this piece. That's enough glue. You really don't need any more than that. Stick it down, and then that way I can be sure that I don't have too much glue under there to make a mess of my work. Now, one of the benefits of the hot glue gun is that it sticks fast. For the felt books, it's absolutely ideal because your children's little fingers cannot peel this off. My kids have played with my books for the longest time and they stay stuck, they really do. However, its greatest benefit is also its greatest disadvantage. If you were to stick this down and find that it's in the wrong place, it really is done. You really can't fix that. There's no peeling this off and starting again. However, there is one possible solution. You would want to leave it as a last resort because it's not ideal, but it is a solution if you're left in a pinch. Now this one I discovered just from some Googling. Isopropyl alcohol. This I bought from the local pharmacy. I'm sure they're available almost everywhere. This will release the hot glue. All I do is just put a little bit in a container, use a cotton bud to apply it, and then I just soak the cotton bud in the alcohol and then gently get it underneath that piece of felt onto the glue. And you'll find if you soak it well enough, sometimes I'll even sort of soak on top of the felt here. The beauty of the alcohol is that it won't have any effect whatsoever on the felt. It won't alter the colour, it won't alter the makeup at all of the felt. The felt will stay perfectly fine. The alcohol really won't bother it at all. What will bother it is as you're gently pulling the two pieces of felt apart. So this alcohol will release the glue to a certain extent. So you'll see that I can now pull this apart. Without the alcohol, this sort of thing certainly wouldn't be possible. So I can pull it apart. However, my felt's not great. I have stretched it slightly, both the top piece and the bottom piece. I wouldn't be too keen to now stick this piece back down again. I'd be a little too upset about how I've stretched it out of place. You, of course, might be different, but I wouldn't stick that back down again. So the only time I would use this as a solution is if I were to be removing a part completely and putting a whole new one on top. Have a play around with it. You may find that you come up with a way that you can remove this without stretching the felt out of place. But this is what I've come up with so far. So it's a solution. Like I said, it's a last resort kind of solution, but it will get you out of a mess in a bit of a pinch if you need it to. So there's the hot glue gun. It really is a fantastic time saver for your craft work. I really hope you enjoy using it, and I hope it leads to plenty of felt book pages for your children. I hope that helped.